Hey there, it's Jordan. It is day 3 of the United Auto Workers on strike. We're in front of the Ford assembly plant here in Wayne, Michigan, which is one of the first plants to go on strike 2 days ago. You also have a plant in Toledo, Ohio on strike, as well as Wentzville, Missouri on strike, with the potential of even more plants to go on strike if the big 3 continue dragging their feet. I'll give you an update on where negotiations stand in a little bit, but I wanted to start. Smash the like button, share this live stream. I'm here with Rose. You've been with Ford for 30 years. Talk to me about, just for you personally, obviously a big issue has been the tier system. So you're in a better position, let's say, than, 25-year-old. But
right. When I hired in 1993, I was one of the first people hired in under the contract for 1993, and it took me 3 years to get the full salary at that point in time, and now it's taking 8 years, and they're only starting at like $4 more an hour than I started back then. So yeah, it's definitely the tier system. This is our future, and if a lot of them walk away, it's not worth it.
For you, obviously, 30 years, you're at a higher pay, but I'm even talking to people who have been here for 50 years who are still struggling financially in this economy. How has it affected you?
I recently lost my husband, so now I'm down to one income.
Sorry for your loss.
Thank you. And it is a struggle. I mean, everything's gone up in price. It took 15 years for us after the 2008 concessions to even get an increase, and then it was 6% over 4 years. They think a bonus is going to make the difference. Well, the bonuses are taxed at 40%. I'd rather have the COLA where it's in my paycheck every week.
Right. And watching local news, some national media seems to be very sympathetic of the companies, if you ask me. They focus on, well, these companies need to be able to stay competitive and, that kind of angle. But they've already made $21 billion so far this year, and the year's not done. How competitive do you need to be? The numbers don't seem to be adding up.
They don't. And yesterday I was watching one of the morning news shows that Mary Barrow was on. And what struck me as ironic is she said that 92% of her pay is based on how the company does. That tells me everything. If she's making, $26 million a year, the company's doing well. Right. Share it.
And the ironic thing is, what she really means is how the stock price is doing.
Correct.
And they're basically kind of doing this scheme to buy back their stock to juice up the stock price, which gives her more pay.
Correct. Yeah.
Talk to me about morale before the strike, because I've talked to different workers, and it's not what it used to be in terms of excitement to go to work, etc.
It's hard to go in and work across from somebody who you're doing the same work and they're making more money than you. I did that when I first hired in. It was rough then. I can only imagine what it is for these guys now, knowing that they're never going to get up to what we're making. Right. The tier system, the way they have it set up, they're only going to max out at like $26, $27 an hour at this rate. They're never going to make what we make.
And it's kind of hard to live with $27 an hour. Yes, inflation has gone down a little bit, but
when you're looking at $1,500 for in Ann Arbor for a one-bedroom apartment, all your money is going to that. It's not going to go to buying a new car. They can't even afford a new car.
Right. One of the things that's always bothered me, I go around the country covering a bunch of different types of stories. The media keeps painting the economy as doing wonderful. It's getting better. Biden said we have a historic economy. I don't know who it's historic for, but everyone I'm talking to here is basically 1 or 2 paychecks away from disaster.
Yeah, it's been that way for a few years. It started with COVID, and it's not really bounced back much.
Yeah. What do you think of this new UAW leadership? Because in the past, I don't even think they would have got this offer, and if they did, they would have taken it pretty much right away.
They're keeping the companies off balance, and I think that's a good thing because they don't know what they're going to do next.
Yeah. And do you want to see more leadership or involvement from the president, because he has sent 2 of his White House aides here to supposedly help with negotiations, but a lot of workers I've spoken with kind of want him to buzz out.
Well, yeah, kind of keep out of it. With the rail strike, they got it. I mean, they did get a good deal. Maybe they can come in and put their 2 cents in. Who knows?
Lastly, if you've been working for 30 years, you're somewhat close to retirement. You don't have pension anymore.
I have pension.
Oh, you do have pension. Good.
I have pension.
Do you feel secure when you retire? I mean,
no, because my pension's only $1,900 a month. So, and I'm only 58, so I still have a few years to go till I'm 62 and can collect any Social Security. Then my pension goes down by whatever amount Social Security is.
right.
So, it depends on this contract as to whether or not I go or not.
Do you want to see that this strike kind of having a domino effect to other industries? Because obviously you've had Amazon workers, Starbucks workers, John Deere a few years ago. It seems like there's kind of this feeling among workers it's time to take it into our own hands.
Yes, definitely. Yep.
Thank you so much.
You're
Appreciate
welcome.
it. So that's one worker, and you're hearing very similar things. Most of the workers I've talked to have been here for 25, 30, 35 years. And in most industries, if you've been working for 30 years, you're doing pretty good. Not in the auto industry anymore. Smash that like button, share this live stream. We got over 20 new paying members yesterday. We need to get that and more if we're going to stay out here longer. We need to keep growing our signups to fund this reporting because it's expensive. So as far as I know, I'm the only independent outlet out here live every day. And it's important. The workers appreciate it, and the workers want a counter to the corporate media spin. So if you could sign up today, statuscoup.com/join, and I'll read your super chats a little bit later. What's your name?
Justin.
How long have you been at Ford, Justin?
7 years.
So you're kind of close to that top tier?
So let me describe the system that we've been having going on. So I first got on, I was an STS, which is short-term supplementary, right? And then
Sounds like some weird insurance package.
right, it's tiers. It's a fancy word for tiers, right? And so I did that for 6 months, right? Wasn't full-time. Then I became a TPT, which is temporary part-time, when I went to Rawsonville, because I've been to 3 different plants. When I was short-term, I was at Allen Park. Once I got to Rawsonville, I eventually did get hired in. I was lucky because I could have been one of those people that haven't been getting hired in, and they keep these people that are temps for years and years and years. So I am here now at Wayne. I've been here for 3.5 years in the body shop.
What is all these terms and like temporary and supplemental?
Right.
It just seems like some bullshit maze to just pay you as little as possible and not give you benefits.
To get around all of that, to avoid being someone just a normal full-time employee. That's what they're doing because they have the money. They have the money. Especially, well, here's the thing. In 2019, when we signed on that contract, I was arguing, and I told them that tiers aren't being removed. I don't know why we're saying it's a good contract when tiers aren't being removed, and I've been screaming that since I got in. And another thing is that they're doing is disgusting, is that they're keeping these people temporary. They say it's TFT. I think it's still in effect. So temporary full-time, which they'll work like a normal full-time employee, but they're not a full-time employee. They're not getting the max wage. They're not getting a profit sharing. They're not getting the sign-on bonus is now, all that.
And basically, the reports are now that they're willing to go from 8 years to 4 years.
Yeah.
But that's still a long time to slave away for to get to that top rate. And oh, by the way, there's no guarantee that you're going to do that, and the plant's not going to be closed before you get to that top rate.
No, I know, and it's just too long. People aren't pawns on the chessboard. People have lives, and these people used to fight for these jobs. They used to be like, fight for these jobs. They're like, I need to get in here. I have to get hired. And now you can go to Chick-fil-A and make $21 an hour starting and not get treated like crap and not work in a 95 to 100-degree factory, And then people complain and saying they're asking too much. You go in here to destroy your bodies and see if you're asking too much.
Tell me about that. You said not be treated like crap. So is there a constant push by managers? Speed it up, speed it up.
Yeah.
How is the management?
So, some of them, they're sympathetic. They're not all bad because they're just trying to make a living like us. So it's not totally on them. It's always that higher echelon that's causing that pushback. They're like, numbers, profit, profit, profit. They don't care what's going on with you. They don't care if somebody passes out on the line. They move that person to the side and they say, keep the line going. And it's been like that for years. And
Ford says this is a family, but you're just pushing people aside if they pass out.
Do you know anyone in your family that when they pass out, you push them aside like cattle? That's not okay. It's not right.
And tell me about you. I don't know how old you are, but if you've been here for 7 years, have you had to kind of struggle economically, make some tough choices? We know inflation has been high. We got gentrification, which is the never-ending inflation. How have things been for you financially?
I've been lucky to be okay for now, but things are going up. Things are starting to get expensive. I go to the grocery store. I put in maybe 13, 12 items, and I'm spending $200. I try to think I'm a middle class person, but they want to destroy the middle class, the corporate. They want to do that more than anything. So we're struggling. And people that have families, I don't have kids or whatever, but I can feel for the people that have families and they're hurting, and it's disgusting. We're all going to be suffering in some way or shape or form.
Also, I keep hearing when I listen to local media the last few days, they're very sympathetic. These companies have to compete, and you got the offshore companies, the foreign car companies, you got Elon Musk and Tesla, and it's all about competition. But they've already made $21 billion this year.
I mean, the big three, I think, together, when you make enough money that you can buy a small country, I think it's kind of a problem. And I think that there's a total disparity within the high to the low class, because where's the middle class? It's been destroyed. So it's disgusting how much money they're making.
I take it you might have a difference of agreement when you hear from Biden and the economy's doing well, the historic recovery.
I know it's important not to get political right now, but
get political. I'll allow it.
Right. They're just trying to pull the wool over our eyes, and you're going to sit here and act like things are great when things are the highest they've ever been. And it's, who are you telling this to? We're here. We're living it. So, there just needs to be some realism. I think with the Biden administration, it's a bit ridiculous.
All of them. They're all disconnected. They're all mostly old white people making they're millionaires.
They need to retire. There needs to be term limits, apparently, at Congress, because we have people freezing up and passing out, not saying anything. Like, when it's time to go, it's time to go. Yeah.
Can you talk about, before the strike, what was morale like? Because you got, one person's making, $35 an hour, another person doing the same work, $16 an hour. I know there's been some division because of that, which is probably what they want.
So it's funny that you say that, because I just became a legacy worker after 7 years. So right when I became legacy, we went right out. So I think it's kind of funny. And the morale was real low, but I think we knew this was going to happen because of how everything is. We were war ready here at 900 because we set the standard here. This is one of the best locals around. They're fantastic, and when Fang, who's doing, I think, a fantastic job, by the way, when Fang called upon us, I wasn't shocked by that.
What do you think of the strategy? It's been today's day 3. Could have more plants go on strike this week. Some people wanted all the plants all at once, which obviously would drain through the strike fund quicker. But do you like this kind of starting small and with a threat of more?
Yeah, I think it's real strategic. I think it is smart. I think very soon he is going to call upon other places to go out. and he did pick a lot of good ones because this plant here is printing money for Ford. So they're sweating. They're sweating right now. The Ranger, it's just about to be on launch because I was in the body shop, and the Ranger's very close to being into launch, and that just got canceled. So that's major, which is good. They deserve it because they think we're second-rate people and don't want to pay us the money when they can clearly pay us.
And what are your thoughts? Because I spoke with a lot of workers. They're not against shifting to electric, but they say they're not really selling, and the companies are pouring so much money into this. Is part of the reason they're not selling because average people can't afford electric? Talk to me about the electric dynamic.
So I think change is good. I definitely support them, but I think there's a certain pace and manner that we need to use them and utilize them because they think it's this instant, immediate transition to electric is going to be right away, and it isn't. Because infrastructurally, we are a little behind to do that. I'm for them. I like them. But when you're charging $100,000 for a Ford Lightning, it's a bit ridiculous. Because that's a house. When you're charging a house for a car, I don't know what else to say.
And lastly, obviously everything's kind of interconnected. So you've seen Starbucks workers, Amazon workers, John Deere workers a couple years ago, UPS recently. Sean Fain has said this is bigger than just the auto workers. Yeah. This needs to spread. Yeah. Obviously, we're not getting any structural change from Democrats or Republicans. Right, exactly. Do you think that this has, a potential ripple effect to other industries?
It is going to have a ripple effect. I mean, in a good way because I think now people are standing up and, enough is enough. This has been going on way too much. Even since the beginning I got into Ford, they've been profitable. Yeah, I know they're a company. Yes, I know they have to make money. But at some point, you have to draw the line. And we've sacrificed a lot. So it's time for them to start paying up.
Or name again?
Justin L. Ford.
Thanks, Justin. Appreciate it.
I'm a big fan of yours.
Thank you. Subscribe. You hear that?
I'm subscribed.
That's right.
Watch them.
Subscribe and sign up as a member. StatusCoup.com/join. Speaking of, I think we did get a member or two so far. So let me give you a shout out to new Status Coup members while I am live. It is hot, by the way. Holy cow. I'm going to have to drink some water. Welcome new Status Coup member Kwame signed up. Welcome new Status Coup member Jan signed up. New Status Coup member Antoinette. New Status Coup member, it just says S. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4 so far today. Let's get a lot more. StatusCoup.com/join. Become a member for as low as $5 to $10 a month, unless you're depending on CNN to tell the truth. I don't think so. Come on over. Smash the like button, too. Hi, what's your name?
Hi, I'm Kim.
Kim. How long you been with Ford?
29 years.
I'll tell you, everybody here, it's 20, 25, 30 years. So what for you is the core issue that you wanted to go on strike?
Well, I think for sure we need to end tiers and definitely not forget about our retirees. I'll be one before long.
Yeah. I've spoken with retirees who are really struggling. I mean, you get peanuts on Social Security, and the company doesn't want to give on retirement, right?
No, they don't care about the retirees. They have to beg and borrow for everything they get.
And for you, even though you've been here for a while, how's your economic situation been? Because they say inflation's coming down, but there's a lot of high prices still at the grocery store, gas, housing, electricity. How's things been for you?
Well, you're right about that. It's crazy to go to the grocery store and spend what you do on a family just to feed them, the inflation and the housing. So it's tight for everybody right now.
And do you feel you got the CEO, he's going on TV crying crocodile tears. If we give in to the demands, we're not going to be able to compete. We can't invest. They like to use innovate as a buzzword. They've already made $21 billion this year, the three of them. And that CEO is making $21 million. I don't know. The numbers don't seem to be adding up to me. If they meet your demands, I think they'd have plenty left over, no?
I think they would. They haven't stopped buying back stocks, hundreds of thousands just in the last week.
Right. Absolutely. And for you, being so long working there, how's it been on your body? I'm talking to people, back surgeries, rotator cuff, neck, limping around in there. Tell me about your experience.
That's no joke. That's a fact. It's hard on all your joints and your back, and your feet especially, standing on concrete all day. But we get by. We all limp in and we all limp home.
And do you want to see more from the president? He's verbally come out, kind of supporting you, but I haven't seen Biden officials on the picket line. They could push legislation to make it easier to unionize for others. I've heard a lot of talk, not much action.
I am not looking for anything from my president. He hasn't stepped up yet. Not expecting him to do it now.
Actually, there's reports that Trump might come here over the next few days. Do you think that's a good thing or a distraction?
I think it might be a good thing. We need a distraction.
Yeah, true. It's kind of doing the same thing daily. Last question. Are you hoping that this affects other industries? Because, we've had 40 years of stagnant wages. We've had a bank robbery where the rich are taking your labor and money. But so many others are afraid to go on strike. You have right to work states that they can't. Do you hope that this goes further than just the auto industry?
I do not wish it to impact anybody's pocketbook, but this is a fight for all, not just the UAW. This will help other industries also come up to where they need to be.
Absolutely. Kim?
Yes.
Thank you. Appreciate it. So that's another worker. Worker after worker has worked here most of their adult lives. And most of them, they're not necessarily just striking for themselves. A lot of them are striking for the younger generation. Want to come over? Hello. Look at that big flag. By the way, let's show. You got all the cars honking. You got all the workers on this side next to the street, across the street doing the same thing. And they're also lined up all the way down the road. So there's different locations that they're on, that they're picketing. So it's pretty awesome. What's your name?
My name is Stephanie Riley.
Stephanie.
We're here to support from Flint. I'm actually from Local 598 at the truck plant.
Mm-hmm. Well, Flint, boy, General Motors has really done a number on Flint over the years. Tell me about in Flint, obviously, the sit-down strike. This is the stand-up strike, they're calling it. What's your main issue as far as wanting to go on strike?
The tiers system, I want us all to be equal. Equal work for equal pay. We're sitting on the line with brothers and sisters who are doing the same work as I am, getting half the pay, sometimes less half the pay. And it's not fair. There's no second-class workers. When we gave up everything in 2008 during the bankruptcy, we were promised that it would be temporary, and instead of being temporary, it's gotten worse. There's been more tiers created. The temporary workers, are now, they're trying to call them supplemental now.
Which sounds like some weird insurance thing.
Yeah, and it sounds better to the public, right? Because they're not temporary, they're supplemental. So, but they're temporaries, and they're 8 years as a temporary. It's not right. So that's my main issue. I think we all need to have the same pay and the same benefits.
And can you kind of talk about, because it seems to me when I listen to the media, especially the local media, it's kind of sympathetic to the companies. Well, they need to be able to compete and yada, yada, yada. They've already made $21 billion this year.
Well, the lies that they spread to get the public on their side, we really didn't even need to give that stuff up during the bankruptcy. If you want to know the truth, they could have come out of that just fine without us doing that. But, we wanted to do our part. And so, they can afford to pay us. I think labor is like 6% of their bottom line or their profit, whatever it is. So, with Mary Barra making $29 million last year, it's unethical is what it is.
I was going to ask you about her. Mary Barra was a auto worker in Flint, I believe.
Yeah, her father was too.
Her father was. And in 2019, actually, GM went on strike. I covered that. She said somewhere that, job security is earned, not given. And obviously she just had her kind of talk like a robot on CNN saying, 92% of my salary comes from the company's performance, i.e. the stock price. Seems like she's a little out of touch with her workers, no?
I think she knows exactly what's going on, but I think she has to, do what the stockholders want her to do and say. So do I think that Mary Barra really believes that we should only make $14 on the line when these are hard jobs. It's not like it was back in the day either. I mean, we used to have good jobs at GM where you could sit for a little while and have a break in between trucks. It's not like that anymore. And they keep adding more and more stuff to these jobs and putting less and less people on the line. There's no way anybody on that line should be making less than $40 an hour. No way. So, do I think Mary Barrett thinks that we should? I really don't know. But, to make $29 million a year, I guess you'll say whatever they tell you to.
Right. And it seems to me, I keep hearing in the media, I don't know, if other workers were offered a 20% increase, they'd probably take it. That seems pretty generous. They seem to be wanting to say or insinuate there's a certain level of excess here, or the greedy demands because other workers would be happy with a 20% increase. What do you think about that?
Other workers, you mean the
other industries? No, other industries.
Well, I can't speak for that because I don't do those jobs. I know what I do for a living, and I know what I earn, and I know it's not what I'm getting paid right now. We work hard and our bodies fall apart. I've had 2 hand surgeries. I got a torn rotator cuff. I'm going to need hip replacement. So. And
you're also not an old lady.
I'm not going to say how old I am, but I've been working there for 16 years. Yeah. And so, we put in our blood and sweat on these jobs. And so by the time I'm getting ready to retire, I hope that I'm still able to function in life independently. I mean, that's the truth. I mean, that's not an exaggeration. So what the other industries are doing and what they're getting paid, I can't speak to that.
Tell me about your situation, because even people who have been working 25, 30 years, a lot of people are struggling economically. They say inflation has come down, but still high prices in a lot of places. How's things been for you?
The gas, the food, the groceries. I'm a single mom, a single income household, and I think that's where we're struggling the most. It never used to be that way, but I feel like I'm living paycheck to paycheck and trying to make ends meet, and that's not what it's been. I mean, I don't understand it, but I know that everything's went up. They say inflation's down, but where? Because I'm not feeling it at all. And every time I go to the grocery store, I want to cry. My son is 17. He eats like a teenage boy does, and things are expensive, and it's getting really, really tough. So it's time.
Most of the people opining on this in the media are making healthy 6-figure, often higher than that, wages, pontificating about the worker bees. Tell me about, long-term. They say we have to invest in electric vehicles, but they're trying to kind of backdoor, make those plants non-unionized. Yeah. Obviously, a lot of the workers I talk to are for electric, but not if it means kind of this race to the bottom of cutting your pay in half.
Where I work, a lot of the workers are not for the electric. They don't think it's going to be successful. We don't have the natural resources to support everybody driving an electric vehicle. They think it's going to fail. And so that's scary too. But yes, definitely, we're UAW workers. We should have those jobs. That's General Motors. And they're like, well, they've got partners. Well, that's not my problem, And the middle class, without the middle class, I don't think we're going to survive, are we? So if they keep eliminating our jobs, how many employees do General Motors have? I don't know. I think it's like 400,000, and now it's like 150,000, and that's just within a couple years.
Oh, in Flint, they used to, the whole town was employed, but now it's down to, I think it's even less than 150,000.
Yeah, maybe a little bit less. Yeah. I'm talking about, though, the big three, so I just, I guess I lost my train of thought, but there's so much to think about.
Yeah. Also, President Fain, he's really pushed the message that this is bigger than just the auto industry, that, the folks fighting here, fighting for everybody. Is there even a middle class anymore? I mean, it seems to me we have kind of this caste system.
We're dwindling. Actually, one of my bigger concerns, too, is that we're the legacy employees, the people who have been there and have a pension and have full wage, are outnumbered now. And so when we're voting locally or voting on political things, we all have, some common interests, but a lot of different interests. And so it causes that divide, too. And so we got to really be concerned about that. I mean, especially at contract time. Yeah. That's why I'm so upset. They keep offering all these different things for the lower tiers. And thank God we're getting $500 in strike pay, because these guys want to get back to work, and they're throwing big bones at them, and when we go to vote, they're going to all vote yes. This time is going to be different because a lot of them are making more out on strike than they are on the line.
Really? A lot of people are making more $500 a week than they are on the line.
Yes.
That's really sad.
Yeah, it's pathetic. But, it's going to work hopefully to our advantage this time if we don't get a good offer to vote on.
I noticed you're wearing the Americana earrings, and to me, all you hear about is like, oh, well, shining city on a hill, and, other people from other countries dream of coming here, the American dream. But more and more, you're just seeing kind of this economic Hunger Games. And is that really what America should be?
Right, no. No, it shouldn't. And it's sad, and I worry that there'll be the rich and no middle class and the poor, and that's a scary picture. It really is. But I also wonder who they think. I mean, there's so many things I could say. You say who's going to buy their products, but they might not even want us to have vehicles, So I won't go into all that, but...
Lastly, being from Flint, I've covered the water crisis for years, the cover-up. Tell me about it, because I keep hearing the water's fine, but then I get people sending me images of rashes they're still getting. People are still losing hair when they shower. They haven't even changed all the pipes. Is the water just dandy and everything's over in Flint?
Well, I don't personally test the water, and I don't live in Flint City. I live in the township, so I don't use that water. We do use it at work, though. I don't see any issues with washing my hands and that kind of thing at work. I know
the water now is back from Detroit. It's not the Flint River anymore.
Well, the whole thing is switched over. Okay.
But the pipes are still screwed up in Flint.
For some reason, I thought that only certain people got switched back over, and then they cleaned up the Flint water because they're cleaning the. Okay, you're right. So anyway, I don't know about the water. I know they missed the deadline on switching over the pipes and stuff, and
almost 10 years and they haven't changed all the pipes. It's crazy.
And Flint City Council is constantly arguing with each other. They did just vote to do some construction over at the water plant to change some equipment out and things that aren't working properly and stuff like that. So it's hard to say what's really going on. I mean, I don't know. I did live in Flint for a little while when my son was very young, and my son does have autism, and so I think about it a lot.
So your son was young when this was all going on, the water crisis?
Not before, but makes me wonder how long it was that way before we actually realized,
Yeah, there's been a lot of learning disabilities, autism of kids. Thank you so much for talking to me. What's your name again?
My name is Stephanie.
Thank you, Stephanie.
No problem.
I appreciate it.
Nice to meet you.
Absolutely.
I like you guys all the time.
We're getting that a lot, that UAW workers have been watching us, because I don't really see a ton of, I see media come out like here and there, interview like one or two people, and then peace out. But
I share all your stuff. Oh, wow. I share all your stuff. So, yeah, no, we appreciate what you guys have to say. And, we need people on our side to be in this platform 100%. So
I don't know. Call me radical. I don't really think the media should be neutral to exploitation, corruption, greedy aristocrats stealing from their workers. That's what this is. I mean, they're stealing the labor.
She was on Good Morning America, and at the end they gave a little thing where she's partnered with the Disney and their station, and I thought, is he saying that to apologize, or what's going on here? Because he was pretty one-sided, I felt, but yeah, I agree. So we appreciate you guys.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Yep. So another Status Coup fan, that's why you got to sign up. Join us, statuscoup.com/join. Let me drink some water so I don't get dehydrated. By the way, basically these strikes are pretty much 24/7. I mean, these picket lines are pretty much 24/7. So they got people out here in the morning, in the afternoon, at night. Yeah. Keep smashing the like button. Share this live stream so we can get it out to more people. Media will cover things right when they happen on day one. They kind of drop off after a few days, so we want to keep the attention on this. I'll read your super chats as we go. Also, if you can't sign up as a member financially, what you can do is press the like button. Share this live stream, smash the like button, and hopefully more people will sign up as a member, because on-the-ground reporting is expensive. Howdy. What's your name?
Rondell.
Rondell?
Yeah.
Courtney.
Courtney. How long have you guys been working at Ford?
I've been here January, but I've always been a union member for the last 3 years, since 2020.
What about you?
I'll be 3 years in the end of December.
So you both are kind of on that lower part of the tier system. So tell me about, you're working all day. I'm sure it's not easy work, and you're standing next to people doing the same exact work. And what are you making, 10, 15 bucks less? That's got to be kind of demoralizing.
Yeah, I got hit with the tiers because I was working from the plant and I got switched to warehousing, and it had switched my whole livelihood. So when it came to hours, I wasn't getting the same hours. When it came to wage progression, our wage progression was double what I was making in the plant. So it impacted me hard, and I had to wiggle out that and come over here to Ford, honestly. So the tier system is not fair. It's not fair for anyone. As us being under the same company, I don't feel that I should make more than you, or just because you in this department, I'm doing more. No, we all do the same work. We all put together on this collective effort to put something together. Honestly, like, I don't feel it's fair.
Why do you think they do it?
My understanding, they feel like other workers in other departments or other warehouses doing less work. I don't feel that. I feel like just because they work in equipment, getting up and reaching different things, and they ain't on them line dealing with mechanic tools, it's still the same. It's still the same pay. It should be still the same pay because they work and they ergonomics is not the same as ours. It's still that we working them 8 hours or more or overtime just to put in the work just for the car to sell.
And it's not like you're sitting in a lawn chair. You know, you're like bending over all day, your back, your neck, everything.
Yes, all day long. Like, I have carpal tunnel now since I've been here. So, yeah.
You seem fairly young, and you got carpal tunnel?
Yes, very.
The worst part about it, though, when it comes to tiers, your plant can shut down, and they can automatically force you into a warehouse, which had happened to me. So, by me already agreed to making my livelihood around this pay, my pay shouldn't go down just because I'm in the warehouse and we're working for the same company.
So basically, you're making here, and they switch you without, you don't have a choice, and then you're making less.
I was working at a plant, switched to a parts distribution center, under the same umbrella for the company I was working for at the time. So, as that came, my livelihood changed. Like, the money I was making in 4 years was different from what I was visioning now from at that parts distribution. It was an 8-year difference, and it was a 5-year pay difference. So, yeah, it was a big hardship for me.
What about for you? You've been here for 3 years. Have they increased you a decent amount, or pretty much the same?
Mine have increased the same, but we get a raise every year. So I was supposed to be getting my raise at the end of the year, but I probably won't get it now. We don't know. So that's my thing. I don't know.
Raise enough to keep up with all these?
It'll be a $3 raise. I think it's like $3 or $4 raise. So at that point, I'm a single person, so I believe I could handle that. But to somebody else who has a family, no, they can't afford it. I know that for sure.
With the spike of inflation, the value of our currency changing every day, is like we gotta keep something that's in language to keep up with the price spikes. So I feel like COLA should be in place.
Cost of living adjustment.
Exactly. Agreed on. For whenever things change, we'll be adjusted. We shouldn't have to work harder, put more hours in, or pick up extra jobs. Exactly. We're the big three. We shouldn't be looking at other companies with their pay raise competing against us, and they ain't doing nothing but fast food restaurants, or that's a slap in the face.
Same as McDonald's right now. That's kind of crazy to us.
They come in and they start making more than what we're making now. So that's just
McDonald's workers are basically making the same, if not more, than what you're making.
That's a slap in the face for what we produce, and the company
600 cars a day, or even more than that, and it's like that doesn't even equal up to the pay.
You kind of feel like it's just basically they're stealing your labor?
Overwork for underpay.
Of course.
Overwork for underpay. Overwork for underpay at its finest. If that's the words, If overwork for underpay was the person, the big three, the employees that represent them, getting these cars done, we is that.
And let me ask you, I'm not trying to get personal, but it must be kind of stressful to even think about like getting married, having a family, if you're barely making it single.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I don't.
It'd be hard.
Yeah.
Revolve your life around something that's not understanding the times of change. Like, they ain't understanding the times of change, or they not trying to understand. It's like when people be on their high horse, they don't want to look at the people that's down. So, trying to get to the same spot. We all got goals. We all got careers that we try to keep going for ourselves. And with a cost of living, just the cost of living that we deserve, it keep us focused and content.
Are you guys having to make some tough choices? You know, people I've talked to have said I had to go without food so I could pay for my medication. What kind of choices have you had to pay?
Well, right now, I had to even move back in with my mom because we haven't been getting our pay. We haven't getting many hours. So it's like they was preparing us for this. That's how I feel. So I had to move back in with my mom because I can't depend on myself right now. So it's like I'm dependent on somebody else right now, and it sucks. It does.
And you know, generationally, young people once kind of dreamed of working at these companies.
My grandfather retired from this place. He fed his 5 daughters and his wife. So my granny thinks like this job is like the excellent job, but to me it's just we not getting nothing. So I don't see it like how they seen it back in the day.
Being in Michigan, growing up, every young guy dream was to be a plant worker. Besides the goals you have outside yourself, when it comes to working under employment, yeah, the big three would be a good company to work for. But nowadays, I get my little nephews and try to tell them like, come work over here, come fill out an application. What is they paying? They gotta argue and I gotta fight with them to try to get in a good company nowadays because they ain't seeing what type of good company it is because the company ain't stepping aside to show that itself. So yeah.
What do you think of Ford's CEO? He's making $21 million. He was on TV a few days ago saying, you know, if we gave the workers what they're asking for, they'd all be making $300,000 a year, he said. I don't know where he went to school for math. Would you be making $300,000 a year if you got a 40% increase?
No. It would be exactly what the president, our leadership said. We'd be caught up with the cost of living of today. The standard American living is where we're trying to get to. The middle class is what we're trying to rebuild. So what we asking for is not much. I feel like that's expected for the time and the era and the moment that's going on right now, and we're going to hit that. So.
And how do you feel seeing, you know, kind of these nice, wearing nice suits, lecturing you about, you know, if we're not going to be able to stay competitive, we can't invest, blah, 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 blah. I doubt he's stepped foot on the factory floor that much.
I want him to step foot on the factory floor to see what we do every day, 10 hours a day. Yeah. Like that, please come. I want you to. He wouldn't even last, 3 hours? He'd be so tired.
What do you say to people who say, hey, if it's so bad, go get another job? Are there a lot of good, strong union jobs around here?
No, not at all. Like, this is what.
But we could be able to fight against company taking advantage of their employees like this. Yeah. That's the point of having a union. This is why we pay our dues. And we is not mad to be out here on this line. We is actually more in a celebrated spirit to fight for what we need right now at this time in the moment. And they ain't not understanding that. Every day, something's changed. Every day, the dollars goes up. And we want to get adjusted with that.
A steak was like, $24 just for one steak. That's crazy. We can't even afford it.
$5.
Yeah, we can't. We just can't even afford this, our living. And it's
middle class rent like $1,300. So we need to bring in 3 times that amount.
But the president, I hear Biden saying the economy is doing great. Oh, tell me.
No comment on that behalf. I'm speaking on the union.
I think your eyes gave the comment.
No comment on that behalf. We speaking on the union on the union fight. So our fight says a lot.
Forget Biden. Would you like to see politicians in general support the unions more?
Yes.
Only if they have a back. I don't mind. Yeah, just support us. Yes, support us.
Because I see a lot of them show up when there's a strike.
Like these cars, we make the world go round. Like
Community
they
is
using our money. Like that's just crazy to me.
What do you think of this new leadership? In the past, UAW the leadership barely communicated with the workers.
All I have to say is that now they is more transparent. Like we can see through the operation of what we're going through now. Mm-hmm. And I'm happy to be a part of it because we feel more a part of it to know what's going on and be informed. So that's all I got to say. I don't have nothing to say on the previous unionship. They've been running for 50 years, 50 plus years. So I want to keep the union going strong. So.
And last question, what's your message to other workers in other industries? Because President Fain has said this is bigger than just UAW. We need to have these kind of actions across industries to make up for, 40 years of wage theft.
Fight for your rights. Stand up and fight for your living. The cost of living, just got to stand up and fight.
What we're doing right now, everybody watching us. So they got to stand up and fight also. Sometimes you got to fight, go with the punches. And now we here, so.
Absolutely. What's your name again?
Rondell.
Rondell and
Courtney.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. Absolutely. So let me read a couple comments. Keep smashing that like button. Share this live stream. We've been live for about an hour. So let's keep it going here. We got, how many people are watching? Hopefully a lot. 2. All right, we got 700 people watching. Smash that like button so we can get this out to as many people as possible. Nothing better than a strike on Sunday. I know football's on, but this is more important. So smash that like button, share. I will read the super chats. Has Colin sent me super chats? All right, let me also give any shout outs if we got some new members. Kwame, Jan, Antoinette, and S. So 4 new members so far. Hopefully we can get even more signups. I believe we didn't go to Toledo today because I'm going somewhere else after this for another story. But I believe we're going to go to Toledo tomorrow. So don't feel left out. We will cover the Toledo picket lines. Website members yesterday, Joshua, Zombie Tom, John, Paul, Effie signed up. We got a new YouTube member, Mr. Anderson, signed up. Thank you, Mr. Anderson. We got a $50 website donation from Bonnie, who said indispensable journalism. Thank you so much, Bonnie. I really appreciate it. You can donate. I sent one email. You can donate to our website, too, to help us fund the trip. You also have a $25 donation from Lynn. Follow female essential workers, for Pete's sakes, domestic workers, airline cleaning crews, caregivers for babies and elderly and disabled. They use as much muscle power as male workers, but get less than living wages and no benefits, and lots of this work as volunteers. Free labor. Free labor and financial sector and media blames workers for economic slowdowns. An outright lie. Rewarded by increasing retirement age, racist and sexist, lacking common sense about human endurance. Thank you so much. Also, I did some interviews yesterday, not on the live stream, that I think some of them will be on Breaking Points, which we have a partnership with. But I interviewed a woman yesterday who is a custodian. She's a non-union custodian at Ford. And it was really, really, really powerful because obviously the focus is on the workers on the assembly line, but there's a lot of people doing the cleaning in these factories and custodial work and janitors who either are not unionized or are unionized but getting like $15 an hour, and they are the one cleaning person for a factory of 200 to 300 people. And that interview yesterday was just crushing. This fine person. She's been a custodian for, I believe, over 30 years, and she's breaking her back. She's the only custodian at a Ford plant down the road for 200, 300 people, and she is making about a little over $15 an hour. I mean, that is beyond exploitation. $5 from Doug. Thank you, Jordan. Thank you. Paul, $15 super chat. Thanks for getting these folks' messages out, Jordan and team. Identity politics is small compared to people needing to make a living. Das Bo's Fleiss, €5.99. If mainstream media would do their job as good as Status Coup, the elites would be in big trouble. Wouldn't that be a dream if the corporate media would be doing what if they did what we're doing, we wouldn't need to be doing what we're doing. But we'll always have an opening because the corporate media is always going to do the propaganda. Let's see. Neurotica Productions, $20. Every single one of these workers is viewed through the last few days have been class conscious, militant, and intelligent. They def going to get what they need. I hope so. Mike Thompson, $5. Thank you. Keep smashing that like button. Keep sharing this live stream. Like I said, we got about 700 workers, 700 viewers. So the more people that press the like button, the more people that will see the live stream. And please, if you can, I totally understand if you can't, but if you can, please consider signing up today as a Status Coup member. It's $5 to $10 a month. That's all we need from you. And there's a lot of journalists and commentators that come to you comfortably from a studio and ask you for money. And I'm not saying, support whoever you want, but it's a lot harder and a lot more expensive to travel and get in the trenches and cover stuff on the ground. And it's very, very important, I believe, to lift the voices of workers and working people and people who are exploited and the vulnerable in the flesh, eye to eye. I think it's super, super important to be here. So please support us if you can. I am never ashamed to ask you, the viewer, rather than asking a big bank to give us money, or the fossil fuckers, or Big Pharma, or Silicon Valley, or the military-industrial complex, et cetera, et cetera. Let me have some more water. Whew. I'll tell you, it's deceiving. Maybe because I'm in the sun. That's probably why. It's hot. And before we talk to some more people, I want to give you some updates here on kind of where negotiations stand. I mean, I don't know everything, but from people I've talked to, as well as just kind of reading about, I think negotiations right now, remember, UAW is negotiating with all three companies. I think negotiations right now are furthest along with Ford. So you might see, I'm not giving you a date, but you might see a deal with Ford first, because it seems like Ford at least is offering a little more than the other companies. COLA, cost of living adjustment, that is a big sticking point right now because the companies are fighting not to give it. But in terms of cost of living, General Motors has offered a version of cost of living that is that they're calling inflation protection. That's what they're calling it, but only for its highest paid workers. So again, General Motors in its offer is still trying to keep this kind of tale of two workers, where they would give a cost of a living adjustment only to its highest paid workers. Are you not paying attention to what these workers are saying? They don't want two class systems in these factories. They want all workers to get the same. So that's what General Motors right now is offering, some type of cost of living adjustment, but only for their highest paid workers. Sean Fain, the UAW president, said talks have been reasonably constructive. So I take what you want from that. Reasonably constructive is obviously better than throwing the contracts in the garbage, which he has done, which I have liked. He also responded to the big three threatening to lay off workers. I'll read the quote. Let's be clear. If the big three decide to lay people off who aren't on strike, that's them trying to put the squeeze on our members to settle for less. With their record profits, they don't have to lay off a single employee. In fact, they could double every auto worker's pay, not raise car prices, and still rake in billions of dollars. Their plan won't work. The UAW will make sure any workers laid off in the big three latest attack will not go without an income. We'll organize one day longer than they can, and go the distance to win economic and social justice at the Big Three. Let's be clear, if the Big Three decides to lay people off who aren't on strike, that's them trying to put the squeeze on our members to settle for less. With their record profits, they don't have to lay off a single employee. In fact, they could double every auto worker's pay, not raise car prices, and still rake in billions of dollars. Their plan won't work. The UAW will make sure any worker laid off in the Big Three latest attack will not go without an income. We'll organize one day longer than they can and go the distance to win economic and social justice at the Big Three. So that's Sean Fain. Listen, if these companies continue offering bullshit like GM offering cost of living adjustments only for the highest paid workers, then this strike's going to go on for a while. This strike is going to go on for a while if they keep offering this kind of two-tier systems or two-tier cost of living. I think where things stand right now, you might see a deal with Ford. I don't want to say soon, but sooner than the others. You might see wages get to at least a 30% increase, and you might see cost of living adjustment come back. I don't know about pensions, even though I think they should demand that. I think I would love a 32-hour work week, but I think that's unlikely, honestly. But I do think you will see wage increases upwards of 30% and cost of living come back, and the tier system go way down. Right now, their offer is 4 years to get the top rate. I think you might be able to see that go down even to 2 years. Obviously, the goal would be to get rid of it entirely. So keep smashing that like button. Keep sharing this live stream. We're going to try to talk to more workers and get their stories out, because that's what it's all about. Anybody else on this side? All right, cool. Yeah, we can cross the street too. So the workers holding up the signs, very important. Like I said, you got the Toledo workers that are on strike as well. You also have Wentzville, Missouri. I can't confirm it, but I have heard some kind of whispers about a plant in Flint, which is about an hour away from here, possibly going on strike this week. So things could change. I mean, things could change rather quickly. You could have people, you could have 3 plants over the weekend and then a couple more coming up this week. I think that the union, if they are not going to get significantly better increases, significantly better offers, I think they're going to start striking at other plants. Come on over.
Hey, man. Josh.
Hey, Jordan. Nice to meet you.
Jordan.
How long you been with Ford?
I've been working for Ford for 3 years.
Okay.
Yep.
I'm digging the sunglasses, by the way.
Thank you.
Tell me, worker after worker after worker, it's the same story. We're tired of being exploited. We're tired of kind of our labor being stolen. For you, what's the big issue that made you want to go on strike?
Well, for us, we were technically a plant that wasn't even on strike yet, but they laid us all off because the other plants are on strike to try to get around paying us. So,
What plant was this?
Body Shop, which is located directly behind there. And because of that, I just kind of showed up and asked if I could volunteer. So here I am.
Yeah. And what do you think about that? They're saying, well, if this factory over here is on strike, then we don't need you because everything's interconnected.
Right.
And we don't, you can't do your job. Do you think they're just making excuses as retaliation?
Oh, I definitely think they're making excuses as retaliation. Retaliation. Sorry. It's the whole. I think the corporation is pissed off that we're trying to strike for our rights, so they're trying to find every single way in the book to try to screw us over, as like some kind of retaliation for us wanting our rights back,
And for you, I mean, you seem like a relatively young guy. How's things been economically? You've only been there a few years. I'm assuming it's been a little stressful with all the prices going up.
Oh, yeah, definitely that. And plus, too, I'm still being paid under $30 an hour. I'm still making like 19-something an hour, despite the fact that I've been here for like 3 years. And, that's because of the wage tiers, With the wage tiers, I should be making enough money to move out of my parents' house, but I still barely have enough money to pay for my car insurance and my car at the same time. So I still have to live underneath my parents' roof until I eventually get that pay raise. And the way the wage tiers are set up, it's you know, unless you like are in a position where you have awesome parents that let you still live in their house, you know, a lot of people don't really stick around until that they get to top pay anymore, because there's no real reason with the way prices keep going up.
And it also just seems to me like they come up with all these like tiers, and now they're calling temporary workers supplemental, and it just seems like this bureaucratic way of squeezing as much out of you and paying you as little as possible.
It is. That's definitely what it is.
So, in terms of the strike, you hear the media kind of say, well, you know, they have to stay competitive, these companies, and they have to be able to invest, and they got to compete with Tesla. What do you think in terms of them being competitive if they've already made $21 billion this year?
Well, you know, that's my thing. You know, they keep bragging about how they've made the most money in history, you know, like since the 1920s or whatever like that. And the thing is like, you know, that's great and all, but if you're making that much money, you definitely have the money to drop the wage tiers and pay your workers properly. That's how I feel.
And tell me about morale at the plant before the strike, because obviously if people are making different, you know, everybody's making a different amount, people backs are breaking. Some folks are saying the managers are kind of not the kindest, shall we say.
Yeah.
How is morale on the factory floor?
You know, before, you know, there was a lot of people that were talking about they wanted to, like, leave and stuff just because they weren't being paid enough for the type of work we do. You know, and I'll even show you right here, you know, I even injured my thumb at one point here to a point to where I don't have any feeling in my thumb, and I still stuck around just because, you know, for that hope of I wanted to get the top pay. You know, I'm hoping to get the top pay so I can move out of my parents' house. And just the way it's set up, it's kind of set up to punish the new people. You know what I mean? It kind of feels like the new people are kind of punished for being new with these wage tiers. So it's like if we eliminated that, you know, a lot more people my age that are working at the plant could actually be more independent again. And that's all we really want, is just that independence back, you know?
And we always hear, like, from the politicians, Biden, the economy's doing great. What are you, in your 20s and you're living with your parents? How great can the economy be?
I'm 31 years old and I still live with my parents because of this.
I'm sure your parents are lovely, but I doubt you want to be living with them.
Exactly. And, you know, the other thing, too, is that, like, you know, I'm 31 years old, I'm still living with my parents because, you know, again, and, you know, I can't, like, go to another job because, you know, a lot of people on the internet would be like, well, then why don't you just go to another job? And it's like, yeah, but this is one of the only few jobs that still gives you, like, health insurance, dental insurance, you know, insurance for your eyes. I think it's called vision insurance. I'm thinking fast, sorry. But this is, like, the only job that still has all those kind of benefits. Whereas, like, anywhere else you go to, they don't even want to give you health insurance, you know? So a lot of us are here for those benefits and kind of sticking around for those benefits. But at the same time, we wish we were being paid the same as the senior people that's been working here. And it's kind of unfair to us, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's kind of like...
But like we can't really like leave the job because, you know, they're paying for our health and vision and dental and all of that.
So you're basically stuck.
Yeah, that's basically what I'm saying.
So we're a country of freedom. Doesn't sound like you have much freedom.
Exactly. You know, it's like what I've been saying a lot on the internet here lately. It feels like we're living in Blade Runner in like the worst ways possible. You know, we have all this amazing technology, yet everybody's trying to struggle to even find a way to live. It feels like Blade Runner, you know?
And do you feel like these companies care about you? I mean, like Ford has said this is a family, but it just seems like, I mean, Sean Fang keeps saying a race to the bottom.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to feel like they care for you when, like, they won't really lift much of a finger to try to help us, you know, assist us with the cost of living and everything, you know? And, you know, it's just, I don't know. Shit needs to change. I don't know if I'm supposed to say that. Maybe you can bleep out that word, but stuff needs to change, you know? It can't go on like this forever, you know? And there are like several other people in the plant that are like me, that are around my age, that are, you know, because of the same reasons, they're still stuck living with their parents and stuff. You know, we're building these cars that we can't even afford, you know, that we don't even have credit scores to even take a loan out to get, because we don't make enough money for that kind of thing. We barely have enough money to pay the bills that we got.
And also, you're 31. I don't know your situation, but it's probably not easy to think about, you know, getting married, having kids if you're barely making it yourself.
Exactly. And, you know, it's you know, you can't really have children if you're not even making enough money to even have a child. You know, a lot of people don't realize, like, you even have to, like, pay the hospital just to, like, hold your baby the second they come out, you know? And it's like, you know, having children is, like, even more costly now than it ever was in, you know, any other time in history at the moment. And it's like, you know, you can't really do anything like that. You can't really start a family when you're being paid $19 an hour in this economy.
What do you think about Biden? Republicans do it too, but they keep saying, well, unemployment's low and GDP is doing well, and they say it's historically low unemployment, and then the media just kind of regurgitates that talking point that the economy is doing well.
Yeah.
This does not seem so well from what I'm seeing.
You know, politicians are not your friends. You know, they are masters at, you know, saying one thing and then doing the exact opposite of what they said, you know. And it's unfortunate that, you know, we haven't really had a president in a long time that actually, like, tries to care for the people and stuff. You know, the last person that even tried to rock the boat hard enough would have to be John F. Kennedy, and we all know what happened to him.
Speaking of, there are media reports that the former president, Donald Trump, might come to the picket line this week. I'm not trying to get too political, but would you want to see Trump here on the picket line?
I don't know. At this point, I kind of feel like it's kind of rubbing salt on the wound at that point, too, because that's whole divided and stuff, too. I think it's kind of the same thing if Biden showed up. It'd be kind of like rubbing salt on the wound at this point, too, you know? Because, you know, like I said, you know, politicians are masters at, you know, saying one thing and doing the opposite. And it's like, how do I trust you? Right. You know, if you're saying you're going to help me, but then you instead turn around and help all the corporations and kiss all their butts on a nonstop basis, how am I allowed to trust you? You know?
They're all taking legal bribes from the corporations, so.
Exactly. Yeah, that's how I feel. I'm not Democratic or Republican. I think they're all evil.
Couldn't said better. Last question. Where does it go from here? Because you could be on strike a couple more days. You could be on strike a couple more weeks. Yeah. How much longer are you and everyone else out here willing to stay on strike?
Yeah, I'm willing to stay out here and strike for as long as I have to strike. Because, you know, at the end of the day, you know, once this passes, you know, it's a lot better. It's going to be a lot better for us, because then we'll finally have the kind of freedom that our parents had back when they started working at plants like this, you know? You know, Henry Ford himself even used to pay his employees enough money to buy the cars that he built. And it's like, we don't even get that luxury, you know?
Well, now you might be able to afford, like, the front light.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So I'm really hoping that the strike doesn't go for as long. You know, it's kind of like the pins that you see some of us wearing. You know, we didn't want to strike, but we will if we must.
What's your name again?
Josh Wiz.
Thank you, Josh. Appreciate it. He's a whiz. He's a whiz. Just awesome talking to the people. Let me give you an update here. How many people are watching here? Hold on. Gotta love being out with the people. That's what we're about. We got almost 700 watching, so that's great. Keep smashing the like button. Keep sharing this live stream so we can get it out to more people. I will read more super chats as they come. Let me see if I got any more members sign up so I could give you shout outs before I interview another fine striking worker. Welcome, Lynette just signed up. So Lynette, Kwame, Jan, Antoinette, S. So 5 new members while we've been live. Hopefully we can get even more of you to sign up. I am not beyond begging, because I beg to stay out here to cover the working class fighting back. How you doing, ma'am? What's your name?
I'm Cheryl Webb Williams. Woo! Union strong.
There you go. Tell me about you. How long have you been working at Ford?
I've been at Ford pretty much from 2017 to now. I started at Romeo, and I moved over here after Romeo closed.
And for you, what's been the biggest issue for you that made you want to go on strike?
Job security. I want to make sure with EVs coming and change is coming. Change is always, you have to get with the times. Change is relevant.
Well, they've closed down, 65 plants over the last few years, all three companies, and they don't want to give you any promises that they won't close down more.
Well, yeah, that's been one of the issues. I think that's what a lot of us are standing up for, whether it's the pensions, whether it's the tiers, whether it's the COLA, and of course, job security. We want that. We want to be able to be secure that when we're coming to work that we're not going to be told one day that we don't have a job. Rather, because we can fight all day long. We can get COLA, we can get pension back, we can get raises, but if we're going to be out on the street in a few more years, did that really do us any good?
I actually talked to a few workers yesterday who told me that they're kind of one paycheck away from being evicted. A lot of work. I just spoke with someone living with his mom, his parents still working full time. It doesn't seem like this is the job that it was 30 years ago that you could build a life. It seems like a lot of the workers are struggling.
I think part of it is the economy. I think that you can make a decent wage at Ford. I really do, with the UAW and the big three. You can make a decent wage. Some of the people who are two tiers and who haven't gotten to full pay yet, maybe that's the issue. They haven't gotten to full pay yet. So, but other than that, no, you can make a decent wage. But however, with things going up, you're going to have to be able to feed your family, send your children off to college. Some of us want better. That's the middle class. Right. So we want better for our families. That's why we come to work every day.
How's it been for you? I don't know if you have kids, but a lot of people are making tough choices because of inflation. Do I pay this bill or this bill? Because things are really tight right now. Have you had any kind of tough economic decisions to make?
I'm not going to say I've had tough economic decisions to make. One thing I will say is I'm fighting to make it even better for my family. All of my children are pretty much grown. I have a daughter in college. However, she has a scholarship. But me and my husband, we do send her money because she don't have a job. So it's good to have COLA and something to fall back on, some security that if anything happened, that we will be set for a little while at least.
Last question. A lot of people feel that this is kind of bigger than just the auto industry, that this needs to go and spread to other industries because a lot of other manual labor, they have tier systems, temporary workers that are being exploited. Do you hope that this kind of spreads to other industries?
Well, I know it will. The national attention that we are getting with the UAW, I believe is spreading. That you have people who are working that their jobs threw extra work on them. Now they may have had in the nursing field, they're working more hours. They have extra patients. So all of this it's a domino effect. All of this, the economy it's hurting everyone out here. So with us making a stance, I really think that this here is it's bigger than just UAW. It's going to help support our children, our grandchildren, the communities, the restaurant business, those that's affected or around the plants. Actually, even management. It's going to benefit management, us out here actually striking.
And I think also, I don't know, there's something beautiful about people standing together. We've got a lot of division in this country, but every time I come to cover, I covered the John Deere strikes a couple years ago. I've covered other strikes, but you could really tell that this UAW is really like a family, and you need that against greedy corporations.
Well, like I said, it's not just the UAW. You have Teamsters, you have nurses coming out, you have people bringing their children out, people bringing their grandchildren out, other family members, people in the community that's driving by honking, letting us know that they support us. All over the world, people are supporting us because eventually it's actually going to affect and it's going to help us all.
What's your name again?
I'm Cheryl Webb Williams.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Absolutely. That was another, boy, I'll tell you, the honking has picked up. Obviously, the honking is people supporting the union. You didn't see it, but they all just took a group photo together. We're going to head over to the other side soon, talk to some more workers. Keep smashing that like button. Let me see if I got anything. Oh, okay. I'll read some I'll read some super chats. All right. We only got 5 new members. That's not enough. I need more of you. If you can, think about it. What do you spend $5 on a month? Some of you maybe spend $5 a week on something like, I don't know. I always say Starbucks burnt coffee because Dunkin' Donuts is better. But if you want actual living, breathing, on-the-ground justice journalism, it's expensive. So please, support us if you can. Sign up, statuscoup.com/join. Let me read super chats. Hold on. $100 donation. Holy cow, from Kenneth and Samantha. Thank you so much, Kenneth and Samantha. We love your on-the-ground coverage of the historic UAW strike. You ask great questions, and we appreciate you and your team. There is very little reporting out there on this event, so please keep up the good work. Thank you guys so much. Technically, there's, shall we say, reporting, but it's mostly regurgitation and stenography for the corporation. So I am happy and proud to be out here live on behalf of America's working class and lifting up their voices. Thank you, Gene, $4.99 in the super chat. Thanks for covering the strike. Thomas Horner, $10. Thanks, Jordan and John, for getting out there. Absolutely. Mark, $5. Will you be here for the Canada strike? I'm waiting. That's a great thing to bring up. Canada, they still have no contract, and their contract ends, I believe, what's today, the 17th? I believe their contract ends the 19th. By the way, just saying in terms of sign-ups, somebody's birthday is on Wednesday. Just saying. Somebody's birthday is on Wednesday. That somebody will be 37 years young. That somebody has had 2 back surgeries, and the way my back's feeling now, might need 3. So, if you want an early birthday present for yours truly, sign up to Status Coup. StatusCoup.com/join. I appreciate it. But to answer your question, the bridge to Canada is nearby, and if there is a strike in Canada, our goal is to cover it. But that's a whole other can of worms financially, because we would have to contact the live unit. It's called LiveView. That's what we use to be live. And we would have to pay for an international plan temporarily, so we're not charged up the wazoo to broadcast internationally. We only have a domestic plan. So if we go to Canada, we'll need more funding because we'd have to pay extra for the international data. Let's see. Okanagan, $20. Thank you so much. Lynette, $10. Toledo Assembly Complex, Gate 2, 12 to 6. come show your support. Yes, Toledo, which is Stellantis, is also on strike. And right now they have picket lines from noon to 6. So a couple more hours. Head over there if you're in the Toledo area. CT, $2. Texas stands with UAW, 1,000%. MED companies are the same. Thank you, thank you. Chris Garrett, $5. Status Coup gives the mic to the workers. Corporate media gives the mic to the CEOs. Who do you want to hear from? I might just steal that as a slogan. Thank you, Chris, as always. Cassie, $5. Much appreciated. If you need any recommendations or need anything while in Wayne, let me know. I did have my first, what was that yesterday? Coney Island? Leo's Coney Island. That was terrific. I'm still actually full from that chili hot dog. I hope my wife's not watching. She'll yell at me for eating that crap. Bear, $20. Thank you for your coverage and support, Jordan. Thank you, Bear. I appreciate it. Let me see. I don't want to miss anything before crossing the street. All right. Anthony just signed up. Wonderful. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 new members. I know we could do better. Yesterday we got 20 new members. So sign up if you can. We want to get closer to that 20 new members. And I think we've been live for like an hour and a half. So I'll go longer. The longer you sustain us, the longer I'll go. All right. Let's cross the street. By the way, there are like documentary filmmakers out here. I did see an Al Jazeera reporter yesterday. I believe, the local outlets are coming here, but they're mostly kind of here for like 10, 15 minutes. They do an interview and then they leave. So they're certainly not staying for the long haul. Let's cross the street. We gotta wait so we don't get hit. Okay. And by the way, this is UAW Local 900. So you got a lot of folks standing in front of the Local 900 building. Can I speak to you, sir? Sure.
Hey man, I've been watching you on YouTube this whole strike. Thank you so much.
I'm live. You want to chat?
I'm a little dirty, but yeah.
That's all right. Come on over. What's your name?
My name's Logan Osterman.
Logan. Tell me, are you Ford worker?
I'm a Stellantis worker here.
Okay. Were you invited to your COO's second mansion in Mexico?
I did, unfortunately, but we'll see what happens.
For those of you that don't know, the CEO of Stellantis, who was supposed to be in charge of the bargaining for Stellantis, was on vacation for 2 weeks at his second mansion in Mexico while he was supposed to be bargaining. So how's that for competition?
Yeah, not very good, I think. They just don't look good for the companies and stuff. I mean, I guess I had to come out here from, Belvedere and, move 5 hours away from my family, but he gets to enjoy his nice big mansion and Acapulco and just chill there.
You had to move away from your family to work there?
Yeah, I had to come out here. I started out at the Belvedere Assembly Plant in 2017. I worked there for about a year and a half, and then as they were slowing production down out there, they laid me off. I was out of work for 16 or 18 months and until, August 2020.
Is that when you grew the beard?
I grew the beard, honestly, when I met here. But, God, then I've been out here since August 2020 now, and the last 15 months out at my plant, we've been working 6 10-hour days it never seems like it's going to end, Honestly, a lot of people were excited to go on strike out here just to get some time off because, we often work, like I said, 6 10-hour days. If you're in skilled trades, you're probably working 7 12-hour days because of this critical plant status stuff they do. And
why do they have people working 6 days if they're making $20-something billion a year? They can't just hire more workers to give you a weekend?
Well, let me tell you this. I work, I'm hired in. I've been hired in. I was lucky. I got hired in after like 6 months. Half the people on my team where I work now, none of them have been hired in. Like I said, half of them are temporary part-timers, but they're working full-time hours. They're not getting paid as well as I am. They're not getting as good as benefits. I think most of them on my team have been working alongside of me almost as long as I've been out here for the last 2.5 years. And again, they're still not getting profit. You hear, we've gotten $40-some thousand in profit sharing and this and that and the other thing, and half the people who work in these plants aren't seeing $1 of profit sharing. They're not even seeing the performance bonuses we get or the raises we get. So it's just
they're basically fucking you.
Yeah, real hard too, real hard. So I barely get to see my wife working. They just work you to death in there, and it eats away at people's mental health. In the last year, I've seen more fights and just more pent-up anger inside the plant than I have the whole time I've been working here. So
I take it it's not great for a marriage if you don't see each other.
No.
Stressful.
No, only one day a week I get to see him on Sundays. That's most of the day, and then we have to do all our errands on Sunday because we only have one car because, not only is he working on these hours, we can't even afford a second car. So I can actually have a car to use and get around and do things so he doesn't have to do them all on his day off,
Yeah, and I'm almost at top pay, and I still can't afford to buy a new car. I could never afford to drive a Jeep Cherokee or a Dodge Durango. Yeah, I have to drive a $3,000 Hyundai with 200,000 miles on it just to try to get around in this city, and that's.
You guys have kids?
No. I mean, we personally don't really want them. But even if we did want to have kids, I couldn't afford to have. I wouldn't feel comfortable having children because I want to be able to make sure my child's comfortable, that I'm not in a bad mental state because I'm worrying about is this bill paid, is that bill paid. And then on top of that, you have to worry about school. I see my sister, my brother-in-law. He works out at the Mopar plant in Naperville, I believe. And I see all the struggles they have to go with schooling and stuff. And he doesn't get to see my nephew hardly at all because he's out at the Mopar plant working. He has to drive almost an hour and a half just to get to work.
The more I think about it, you hear this term income inequality. I think that's the wrong term. This is just theft. It sounds to me like these companies are wage slavery, you said.
Yeah, wage slavery. I mean, how can someone work 6 hours, 6 days, 10 hours a week, or 10 hours a day, and still not be able to afford? We can't even afford a cat. We wanted a cat.
A cat, you said?
We get kids. We can't afford an animal. We wanted an animal.
I can barely afford the house plants I have just to water them. And, buy soil and stuff for them, let alone a child or, a cat,
I couldn't imagine having a to take care of, but it's not feasible in today's economy. I definitely am thankful for people who, are able to provide for their kids, but the extra stress is just, to think about that even now, it's crazy.
This fight really goes beyond the UAW, far beyond the UAW, because this isn't something that's just happening here. This is happening all across America. It's really a result of the system we have that we run this country on. The workers, we produce all the value that produces all the profits for these corporations, and we barely see a hundredth or a thousandth of the value we actually produce. All this value, the surplus value we produce, is going to these corporations and these rentiers, and everybody but the people who are doing the work, basically.
I don't know, what are you, in your 30s?
Yeah, I just turned 30 on July 1st.
Okay. So it seems to me, all this bullshit about the American dream, you hear Biden and, both sides do it, talking about the strong economy, if there's low unemployment. The economy seems to be kind of this game of, like an economic Hunger Games, where it's like everybody's fighting for scraps while Stellantis' COO is drinking 2 margaritas on his hammock.
It's almost like he's existing in an economy that's running parallel to the one me and you and all the rest of us have to enjoy, where we have to, go, okay, well, I only got X amount of money and I need to buy this food to live. I need to pay rent to live, It's just like you're struggling to get by, even when you feel like you're supposed to be comfortable. Like, I could be 2-3 paychecks away from being homeless, working at having a good job that people think, you know.
Talk to me about, because I've been surprised. I'm talking to young people who are telling me, like, I just had back surgery, rotator cuff, limping. You're 30. Is this affecting you physically, the work you do?
Every night when I get home, before I go to bed, I have to spend 15 to 30 minutes massaging my back, or else I'm in so much pain I can hardly sleep. Like the job I do, I'm on an easy job. Sometimes I'm on a hard job, but the job I do most of the day is just tying down ground wires. And you're doing this all day. You're holding a gun. It's a big power tool with a long cord on it that's 2, maybe almost 3 feet long. It weighs 5 or 10 pounds, and you're doing 400 or 500 cars a day sometimes. So, you know, that just all this, you know, you're leaning forward 400 or 500 times a day, and it just destroys your back. Even with some of the ergonomic stuff they put in there, you're still standing up for 10 hours a day. You know, that's the thing. Like, we'd be doing a lot better as workers if we could at least just work the 8 hours a day we're supposed to work. The 8 hours a day people fought and died for 100 years ago, and we can't even get that anymore in America.
And what do you say to kind of the knuckleheads who say, hey, if it's so miserable, go get another job? It's not so easy, I would assume, to find union, decent paying work, even in this, quote, strong economy.
Well, let me tell you something. It might be nice for them. It might be real easy for them to just pick up and find another job. But I have a wife I have to take care of. I have epilepsy. I have to take a prescription every single day. So I can't go without health insurance. You know, when I was laid off, I was terrified that I might not be able to, you know, even get health insurance. Luckily, I was able to get Medicaid, or else I would have been completely fucked. You know, you know, if I try to go and find another job and quit my job, you know, even if I have money saved up, like, if I don't find a job before my pills run out, then I'm putting my life at risk just to find another job. You know, if my CPAP machine that I need to sleep breaks, then I'm putting my life at risk to go find another job. It's, you know, people can't take these risks, and they shouldn't be expected to take them. You hear about risks that investors take. Well, that's just moving money around. When you have $100 million and you got 10 million of it played up in the economy, if you lose that, or if, you know, you have 5 million at the end of the day, that's not a big deal. But if, you know,
I heard during the 2016 and 2020 presidential election, all I kept hearing was people want the choice of having their private health insurance. I think people want, like what other countries have, so you're not stuck to a job for your health insurance. You just have it as the right of being American.
Well, and that's another thing, these companies, it's very strange, you know, if these companies are so concerned about costs, why don't they demand that the government nationalize the fire industry, like the banks, the insurance companies, all of that, so that they can deal in good faith with them instead of worrying about, you know, whatever interest rate is being set by this bank that's trying to profit off them. You know, our health insurance could be paid for, our life insurance could be paid for. They wouldn't have to worry about any of that. They might just have to pay some higher taxes. But if you'll notice, you don't see Stellantis getting out here going, hey, you know, why don't we have universal health care? Why don't we have, you know, some sort of social welfare state that takes care of people so that it's not all on, do I have a job, don't I have a job, you know? You know, that would save them money, but they don't, for some reason, they don't want to do that, which, you know, it's almost like they think that keeps us more disciplined. Like, I think it was Alan Greenspan said America has the most disciplined workforce in the United States, and you know, our reliance on insurance for these private insurance companies is the direct result of that.
I hate to be a Debbie Downer, but what I'm hearing is not really, it doesn't seem like you have a lot of opportunity to just enjoy life. You only see your wife once a week. You're working like a dog. You don't really have a lot of opportunity just for non-work enjoyment, it sounds.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. Like, before I came out here, you know, when I was laid off, I picked up guitar, and I'm a guy who likes to have a lot of hobbies, but I haven't really got to do any of my hobbies in over a year now. Like, I can barely remember how to play guitar now because I've been out of practice. Because, you know, I come home, I want to see my wife and spend time with my wife. I only have, you know, I go to work at 4:30. You know, I get out of work at 3 if we're working a 10-hour shift like we normally are. So I don't get home till almost 3:30. That's 11 hours. Well, it's 12 hours because I leave the house at 3:30. So I'm gone for 12 hours of the day, you know. And I get home at 4:30. I can't run any errands. You know, all I can do is, if I'm lucky, my wife's up and I can spend a little time with her. You know, and that's all I have. It's all you have the energy to do at the end of the day out here. But
what's your message to the politicians? Obviously, you've heard Biden. He's kind of verbally said the workers, you know, deserve a better contract, but they've pushed trade deals for many years that hurt the workers, sent jobs offshore. Biden was pushing TPP, which would have been the final nail in the coffin, in my opinion.
Well, I'll say my opinion on the Democrats. The Democrats are the party of finance and neoliberalism. They're just as much a part of the problem as the Republican Party is. That's why you see me out here wearing this Build a Working Class Party shirt, because we're trying to build worker organizations that can supplant the power of these Democratic politicians. I'm glad to see them out here supporting us. You know, Rashida was out here, Debbie Diggler was out here. You know, the Michigan ones particularly are showing their support. But as a whole group, you can't trust Democrats as far as you can throw them. You know, that's my opinion.
With all due respect to them, it's not hard to come out when the strike happens. It's not hard to hold a sign. It's much harder when the cameras aren't there to actually
trying to create legislation back there.
Right. Because I'll tell you, I mean, Biden was quick to abandon a $15 minimum wage and many other things. I didn't see him lift a finger for the PRO Act and try to push the PRO Act, which would have made it easier to unionize, would have actually had some penalties for union busting. That could have been a major game changer.
He could have lifted a finger for the fucking railroad workers and gave them the things they were asking for in their contract, but instead he forced through a concessionary contract that the company wanted on their behalf. So, you know, who's he working for? If you really, you know, I heard him saying, you know, we need a fair contract, stealing our slogan that we're using. I'm glad to hear him say that after he had, I guess, maybe he was sundowning that day and he didn't realize what was going on. And he said we weren't going to go on strike, but, you know, I don't know what that was all about, but I'm glad to see he's giving us some support when his staffers write him a nice speech. So I'll take that. That's what we can get, but it's far from sufficient, in my opinion.
How long are you willing to strike for?
I'm willing to strike as long as it takes and until we get a good deal. I mean, I hope we're not out here for 6 months or something. I mean, my plant still hasn't gone on strike, so I'll have to see what's going to happen with that. Excuse me. But I hope we hold out for the long haul, because, you know, people are more upset that we're not all going on strike than they are about almost anything. Like people, I mean, some people do just want to legitimately go on strike to get some time off because we've been working so much. But
that's really just think about that. People would literally are so overworked and exploited they'd rather stand on the side of the road holding signs all day than do the hard labor that you have to do.
Well, that's what happens when, you know, you have the company just screwing people over like that, you know? You know, I'll say this, you know, in the times I've worked in the auto industry, when our hours are low, when we're working, you know, we're working a regular schedule, you know, 40 hours a week, quality is high, quality is good. We don't have problems with the plant running because of quality when we're working a regular schedule. But, you know, what is all this doing? Them cranking out cars, trying to stockpile cars for the strike. It's just the quality's going down and down and down and down and down. That's.
No one wants to make a car well when they're overworked. People are complaining about, oh, you don't build good cars, they don't last. Why should you get paid more? People are overworked. Of course, quality's going to go down when you're overworked. Right. That's common sense.
Research and data showing, you know, companies that pay higher wages, less work, productivity goes up.
Yeah, exactly.
But
people are taken care of. They will do the things you want them to do. No one's going to want to work and make good quality product if they can't even go home and see their family for a couple hours a day at night.
Last question, how long will it take me to grow that beard?
Well, I've been working at this one for probably 8 years, so I don't know. Your facial hair looks like it grows a little better than mine does. So.
I just shaved. It does get a little bushy. Yeah, but, well, no, this was like 2 days ago, but
I don't
So maybe I could do 5 years to get to that?
At the very least 5, probably 4, I'd say. So.
Did you guys get together before or after he had that?
A year before he started at Stellantis, yeah.
So that's real love. Actually, one more. Do you want this to spread? Because UAW president, he said this is bigger than the auto industry. This is a fight for the working class. Amazon, had the historic victory in Staten Island, but since then, it's been kind of stuck. Starbucks workers have unionized, but Starbucks is fighting like, union busting like nobody's business. UPS just won a big contract. Would you like this strike to really have a domino effect to other industries?
That's my hope. My hope is that we get a very good contract, and this strike leads to the biggest growth in union membership in the last 100 years. I mean, I'll be honest, what I would have liked to see right now is I would have liked to see UPS on strike. I would have liked to see as many places on strike with us as possible. I'd like to see whole cities shut down, honestly, with people demanding, better pay, better wages, better governance. This is a great example.
Revolution!
I don't want to say he said it better than me, so that's what I'd like to see personally, but...
What's your name again?
My name's Logan Osterman.
Logan, thank you. And your name?
My name is Dominique.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Awesome. Sometimes you speak with people, they're less chatty, and you got to really pull out of them. And then some people, it's like, great, I get a break. And they could just, that guy was great. Let me give some shout-outs here, because we got, I think, a couple more members. Welcome Karen, just signed up as a Status Coup member. Welcome Mike, just signed up. Anthony, Lynette, Kwame, Jan, Antoinette, and S. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 through our website. I think we've gotten a couple on YouTube. Colin will tell me when he sends me the latest information. So listen, I will kindly continue asking if it's within your means. Sign up. It's really, really important that we grow our funding. These on-the-ground trips, just for a week, to be out here with a cameraman, myself, between the flights, the hotel. Actually, we're going to have to extend the car. Remind me, I was supposed to bring the car back tomorrow. We're going to have to extend the car. So all of this costs a lot of money to do. That's part of why other outlets don't do it, because it costs money, and they're lazy. Mostly they're lazy. But it does cost a lot of money, and it's hard when you don't have funding from corporate ghouls, banks, fossil fuel companies, pharmaceutical companies, Silicon Valley, military-industrial complex. We're not sponsored by Bank of America. We're not sponsored by Lockheed Martin. We're not sponsored by Amazon. It would be a lot easier if we were, but obviously you would not get the same type of reporting if we took the money from those corporations. We also do not have money from massive donors to the Republican Party, massive donors to the Democratic Party. Our funding is $5, $10 a pop. So if it's within your means, I understand for some people that's not possible. But if you can, today is day 3. At the moment, I think we'll go to Toledo tomorrow. I'm hearing you could have more plants go on strike as soon as tomorrow. So, yeah, we'd like to stick it out as long as possible. So sign up, statuscoup.com/join. Also, sign up for our Substack, which you could sign up there for free if you want. That's statuscoup.substack.com. Let's head on over here. So if you can see, there's people kind of hanging out in front of the building there. That's local 900. You got people kind of on the corner here. I don't think you can see it, but there's kind of picket lines down the street. So it's not just this location. You have people kind of scattered at this location as well as kind of down the street. So. Can I speak with anybody? We're live. Love talking to workers. Don't be shy. No?
Yeah, be shy over here.
You sure? That's fine. No problem. Can I talk to anyone? We're live. Okay. All right. Look at this. Can I talk to anybody? We're live. Can I talk to anybody? Come on over. What's your name?
I'm Tawanda.
Oh, I love those sunglasses. A butterfly. How long have you been at Ford for?
I am not at Ford. I am with Warren Truck Local 140, and I am here in support of my Ford brothers and sisters.
That's GM.
No, that is Chrysler. Stellantis.
Stellantis, excuse me.
Stellantis.
And Warren, remember, did that go on strike in 2019?
It did not.
Okay. Oh, that was GM. GM. Yeah. So tell me, because Stellantis, the COO was on vacation in Mexico. Did you hear about this? He was at his second mansion when he was supposed to be leading the bargaining.
Well, honestly, I'm not quite sure where he was at and what he was doing. All I know is we about business today.
Tell me about, for you, what's the most important issue that made you want to go on strike?
Well, it's not personally that I wanted to go on strike for myself. It is about the entire team. All three companies, we work hard. We were considered essential workers. And now when it's time to ratify things for us, now we not considered essential.
Right.
We were only off for a month, and they made us come back to work.
And risk your life.
And risk our lives.
And how long have you been at Stellantis for? Or Chrysler?
Right, Stellantis. Going on 9 years.
Okay. Tell me about, in terms of the two-tier system, did it take you a long time to get to that top rate?
Not at all. Fortunately, once I came in, I worked my 90 days and I was rolled over.
Wow.
So I am in great support of them going back to that.
It seems like they got different standards for different plants. And
They do, but at the end of the day, we all need to be on the same accord.
And the companies keep saying that if they meet your demands, they won't be able to compete and invest. Something's not adding up in the numbers because
it's not. It's not. But I don't know all the Pacific, so I would rather not speak on that. All I know is we deserve everything that we're asking for.
And lastly, how is working there? So many people are talking about back problems, neck problems, shoulder problems, limping when they get home. How is it for you?
I've experienced it all over my 9 years. I've experienced it all. I've stuck in there and worked through it because, I got to work for my family. So it's a part of the job, and that's why we definitely should get what we're asking for, because it's hard on our bodies.
Do you think the media is covering this accurately? Because I hear the local media, they're very sympathetic to the companies.
I can't speak on that, only because it just depends on who you talk to. So I can't speak on that, but I'm glad that you came around and I was able to give my side of the story, and we need what we asking for. We need it.
One more. How's it been economically for you? Because groceries, gas, housing.
Everything's going up. It's not just for us. Everything has went up across the world. So if eggs is almost $10 a dozen, what do you really think our wages should go up to? I'm just saying, it's something to think about.
Thank you very much.
You are so
Appreciate
welcome.
it. So she's with Stellantis or Chrysler or whatever.
Yeah,
FCA.
All them names.
And Warren, come on over. You want to talk? Okay. So Hakeem Jeffries is here. He's the House Minority Leader. He is a friend of the corporations, but he's here. So, oh well. Keep smashing the like button. Share this live stream so we can get it out to more people. We've had, I believe, Debbie Dingle was here. Come on over. What's your shirt say? Monkey Matters?
No.
Oh, money making it out. Tell me what's your name, how long you've been with the companies.
My name is Theodore Harris. I've been with Ford Motor Company for 2 years.
Okay. For you, what was the biggest issue that you wanted to go on strike?
More pay, more benefits for retirees, and just better benefits.
Do you feel like the companies are being honest because they say they don't have money to invest and compete?
No, because we built the American dream. So with that being said, If we build the American dream, we deserve our fair share. We want our fair share of the profit. That's it.
And as far as wages, they say that you have, competitive wages compared to other industries, great benefits, but everyone I'm talking to is paycheck to paycheck and struggling.
It's paycheck to paycheck, and you getting by how you getting by. So, I would ask the average American non-automotive worker to come work a day, let alone a week, in the automotive plant at the rate that we're making and see what your opinion is. That's it. That's my statement. That's it.
Backbreaking work.
Yes, sir. And let's not forget, we sacrificed a lot for the CEOs to get their just due. Why can't we get our just due? That's it.
Do you think, as far as the two-tier system and all that, they seem to be renaming things? They call them temporary workers, supplemental.
Absolutely, because the two-tier system is a setup for I'll work you 8 years for this rate to get you to that rate. If you last, it's a game. It's a game that they're playing that we can't win. So, thank you guys for coming out, standing in solidarity with us. Seriously.
What's your name again?
My name is Theodore.
Thanks, man.
Appreciate you.
Appreciate it. So there you go. Same story. Every person we talk to. People are struggling. People are struggling. And you have, just straight up gaslighting. Straight up gaslighting coming from politicians. I don't even want to try to interview Hakeem Jeffries because I find him so vile. He's basically Nancy Pelosi, just a man, and much younger. So Hakeem Jeffries is here. And let's be clear. A lot of these politicians show up to check the box that they showed up. They're not fighting for the PRO Act. They're not saying anything about companies like Amazon union busting. They're not trying to push legislation to make it criminal, not a civil penalty, criminal consequences for union busting. Criminal consequences. Criminal consequences. When these companies are literally, you heard someone I interviewed earlier saying workers are passing out on the line, and the managers are just saying, move them on over and keep working. Push them over like it's garbage when workers are passing out. Keep the line going. There's no criminal penalties for that. There's no criminal penalties for, tanking the the global economy if you're a banker. There's no criminal penalties if you're an oil company and poison water and leak oil into waterways. Pharmaceutical companies, are the Sacklers in prison? No. So I could go on and on. Keep smashing the like button. Let me just give, 2 hours. We've been live for 2 hours. My throat is starting to give out a little bit. I'll keep going. Hold on. Nancy just signed up. Welcome, Nancy. Alexander signed up. Welcome, Alexander. Karen, Mike, Anthony. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 members on our website. And we got a couple members, I believe, through YouTube. Let me read a couple super chats. Oh, we got a new, I just read that, Anthony. New YouTube member. Welcome, Daisy, signed up through YouTube. Thank you. Website donation. Donna, $10 donation through the website. Thank you for your great coverage of the UAW strike. Super chats. Henry Jumbo, $4.99. End corporate greed. Capitalism is wage theft. I agree. Pinsky, Miss Pinsky, $1.99. Sometimes Starbucks is much better than Dunkin'. I'll have to agree to disagree. But thank you for the super chat. Sandy, $20. Thank you, Sandy. Michael Petty, $10. Skipping extras and donating to the Status Coup team. No eating out, buying coffee, etc. Keep it up. Can't wait to see you all out here in Wentzville. I'm not saying you can't get coffee. I'm just saying get one less so you can support Status Coup. Laura, tip $2. Thanks, Laura. M, $5. U.S. perpetuated exploitation, imperialism, aggression, violence has got to end. Solidarity to all workers everywhere. Thank you so much, M. Appreciate it. Anthony, $10. Appreciate it. Anthony, another $10. I'm gonna go bring rock and roll to the Toledo strike lines. Working people stick together. Couldn't agree more. Keep pressing that like button. Share this live stream if you can. Sign up as a Status Coup member. Ooh. Time flies. Time flies. By the way, that whistle is them. It's loud, but we love them. So they're blowing whistles. Obviously, the cars are honking. Want to talk, man? We're live. Come on over. What's your name?
My name's Kathy.
Hey, Kathy. How long have you been with Ford?
I'm actually from Wayne State.
Oh, okay.
I'm with the local AAUP AFT 6075, and we've been basically supporting this from the beginning.
Awesome. What do you think? Because you hear, the corporations all about we won't be able to compete, we won't be able to innovate, yada, yada, yada. But they've already made $21 billion this year.
It's absolutely nuts. I mean, for me, it's not just the amount of money that's going towards the top, but it's also the way that job stability has been a big issue for Wayne State. So I'm just like, I hear that. When it comes to anything that has to do with AI or electric, I mean, we're dealing with chat GPT stuff. This also goes across with the WGA SAG-AFTRA strike. I've been following that all summer, so it's just like there's just so much like overlap between the different situations that people are going through, as well as the fact that it's just so much money is just going towards the top that should be for everybody. Everybody's been putting their efforts in, and this should not be the way it is.
But you must have missed the memo. We hear the economy is doing great.
Oh,
That's what the politicians say, the media.
Fantastic. Yeah, I know. The whole what was it? Inflation supposedly nowhere. You know, it's evaporated, but no. Yeah.
You know, it's interesting with academia. You're at Wayne State. I mean, I have a 10-month-old daughter. At this point, she's going to University of Phoenix online. I mean, it's like 60. Cheap is 60,000 now for a lot of these higher education.
And the thing about that is none of this is going to the teachers. None of this is going towards classrooms. Wayne State is falling apart, and the people don't fucking care at the top. I want to hear the Board of Governors to actually get on this shit. And I'm happy to talk about it because it's been since I got here just before COVID. And we did a terrible job of dealing with that. People's safety was not up there. Students were not. They talk about students. That's all talk. So all of this is just, it's absolutely ridiculous. The cost is not, students should not have to be paying as much as they are for getting as little as they're getting back.
And where's it going? You said it's not going to the teachers.
It's going to the administrators. It's going to the people up top. So it's like we don't see this. Supposedly Wayne State and other places in the at least Michigan, but honestly nationwide, have been saying, oh, we have all of these things that we can't afford, or the students' tuition, we need to heighten it because otherwise we can't cover this. Bullshit. We used to be able to pay with this stuff via state, but now it's just basically a pyramid scheme. Banks and universities have basically taken it upon themselves to continue to cycle money that they've been exploiting from universities to get from students. Students are paying money back that the universities have already taken out. The whole thing is just absolute crap, and the students are the ones who are being put in debt. The student loan crisis is huge. And it's just like people who are teaching, like me, who are not being able to do PSLF. It's not been taken well care of. Anybody who's trying to do the independent, the income-driven repayment plans right now, including SAVE, are going to be tapped. It's at the end of this month. So it's like anybody who is here, who went to Wayne State or any other place, is having to deal with student loans on top of this bullshit. This is not good for the economy.
It's also not good for people's mental health when you're working 10, 11 hours a day and then have this dark cloud hanging over your head of having to repay student loans, etc. Let me ask you, I talk to so many people here, maybe in their 20s, 30s. If you came up in Detroit, maybe Flint, the dream was to work at one of these factories. You know, a lot of them dreamed, like, I got to get a job at GM or Ford because that's how you get retirement security. You get benefits, decent wages. Maybe that was true 30 years ago. But now it seems like they're getting hoodwinked.
I have students who have talked about, I would like to work for Ford. I would like to be doing the electric vehicle stuff. And considering one of the big issues is the people who have been working on electric vehicles from the assembly line on up are basically being put out because of machines. Their hours are being cut. All of this stuff that the students are looking forward to is going to be like completely up in thin air.
Do you think the government's doing enough? We see politicians show up.
Bullshit.
They hold signs when the cameras are on, but...
I mean, I would like to see action. I don't want to see talk. I want to see people doing something.
Do you think in Michigan, obviously, Governor Whitmer, they got rid of right to work, so that's a good thing.
Yes.
But clearly, they are very, I would say, more sympathetic to the companies. Ford, GM, Stellantis. What more would you like to see be done? Don't be shy.
Because I've been so shy up until that. I mean, I would like to see just more discussions with these groups, more discussions with just people who actually work on the plants. Get a think group get some sort of group together to just talk from employees. This is the stuff where it's like good policy is made when you talk to your citizens, not when you talk to the corporations.
Oh, no, they're making the policies. They're talking to their citizens, the corporations, the ones that they're taking legal bribes from. Last question, would you like to see this spread? We've seen some academic strikes, Columbia last year, a couple others. Would you like to see more industries kind of fighting back?
Yeah, and honestly, there have been a lot more discussions about that. I know the things that have been happening with West Virginia University right now are kind of like being talked about on Twitter a fair amount. Honestly, the way in which we had, even with University of Michigan, the way that the grad student union was basically completely and utterly not listened to, even until this year. It's like they finally got something that they desperately needed for a long time. Some sort of equality, considerment of pay, like how much labor they're doing for the university. This kind of thing is universal. We have so many people who have been leaving Wayne State. And I got into my union because I was given a non-renewal notice my very first year there, and it had nothing to do with my academic performance. The job security in academia is basically becoming an absolute myth. You cannot get into, the tenure track positions the way that you supposedly used to. It's terribly competitive for, honestly, like 5 or 5 semesters, 5 classes a semester on up. People are not able to fill these things because the pay is just awful. And so it's like, yes, I would like to see this stuff change. I would like to see it change without a strike. This takes a fuckload of bravery to come out and actually do this. And the only reason why I feel like I can come out here is to basically show support. But the people who are putting their jobs on their line by putting their money on the line, they're putting their money where their mouth is.
What's your name again?
Kathy.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. From the auto lines to academia, a lot of the same things going on. We've seen strikes at universities, Columbia, a couple others over the last few years. And it's kind of the same, I would say, story, different here and there, but all this money is being hoarded by greedy fucks, whether it's the administrators at Wayne State University or the CEOs and the people, in the C-suite for these car companies. They are hoarding money and stealing it from the worker bees on the floor. And that's got to stop. It's been going on for 40 years. So spare me, excitement if a politician comes out and holds a picket sign. What are they doing the 364 other days of the year? So they're coming out and holding a picket line and shaking hands with workers? That's nice, but that's kind of the bare minimum that they should be doing. They should be pushing legislation that prevents these companies from continually taking from these workers. How about, yes, I'm going to say it, a cap on CEO pay? It used to be 40 years ago, I don't know, maybe the CEO made 20 times the worker. You got these CEOs at these plants, they're making 300 to 400 times the worker. And you wonder why people can't eat? You wonder why we talk to a husband who sees his wife once a week because this is the only job he could get and it's 5 hours away from where they live? it's outrageous. It's outrageous. All right. I'm losing steam, so let me read a couple more super chats and members. I also, we got plans for another story after this, so I got to wrap up soon. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, so I think I'm caught up with members. 10 new members on the website. Hopefully we can get a couple more to sign up. 222. And we got another one. New YouTube members. Tracy signed up. Angel of Redemption signed up. Adam signed up. So that's 3 new YouTube members. Super chats. Grinning Goose, $2. Thanks for your hard work. Dave L, $10. Yes. Thank you. Humorous, who gave an amazing donation yesterday. Thank you, Humorous. Another $5 today. CEOs in the upper echelon of these corporations should not be allowed to pay themselves more than 9% of the lowest paid employee. I would go even more. I would go even change that number, but I agree with that. Tom, 100 NOK. I don't know what that currency is, but I like it. Thank you, Tom. Inspiration for all workers. Greetings from Norway. All right, that's Norwegian money. Love it. Saturn Girl, Frankie Lynch, $9.99. You do such amazing work. Thank you for this. Thank you, Saturn Girl. Jack Elliott, $15. Postal workers here, and I'm in full support of my fellow workers. Thank you, Jack. Cypher Math, $4.99. Thank you very much, Cypher Math. Brenda, let me see here. Brenda, $10. R&D governors appointing corporate owner donors on state boards of regions is what has led and continues to lead to the indentured servitude of employment in order to pay back student loan debt. I cannot disagree. I cannot disagree. All right, I'm going to wrap up. Yeah. Hold on, let me see that. Yeah, I did. I read those. I'm going to wrap up. I think we've been over 2 hours, so did I miss something?
No, we're good.
Hold on. All right, so for the still 650 people watching, it's time to take off the glasses and get serious here. We'll continue updating you. I've been live for over 2 hours, so if something has changed, I don't know. But again, negotiations are still going on. Before I went live, it seems like the UAW was closest with Ford. Not that they were close to an agreement, but I guess negotiations have been best with Ford as far as Ford starting to, make better offers. GM and Stellantis is still being greedy corporate ghouls. Plans could change. I'm working on some other things, non-UAW strike related, that I can't get into right now. But currently the plan would be to cover the strike in Toledo, Ohio tomorrow. There might be some other plants that start going on strike as soon as tomorrow. So, we'll be flexible depending on where plants go on strike. Very, very important. We'd like to stay here right now. I'm talking to Tina about coming to continue coverage when I have to leave. So we'd like to stay out here. But, again, it's expensive. And because it was the Detroit Auto Show, Jesus, hotels were very expensive here. I think the hotel we were staying at was like $200 a night. So please, thank you to everybody who signed up as a member. For those that are watching right now who are not yet Status Coup members, consider it. Actually, fuck that. Don't consider it. Sign up today. I'll tell you what, this is not for my ego, but so you know, and John can confirm it. I have probably had at least 30 to 40 workers come up to me over the last few days thanking me. Not because I'm so great, but because we are, and we've been for weeks, leading the charge on covering this. I've been covering this for about a month before the strike happened. And why I've been covering it and why I came and why we want to stay out here is I truly believe, I'm not going to blow smoke up your ass. We're not going to topple a corrupt, oligarchy with one strike. But I think that this is much bigger than just the auto workers. You had John Deere a few years ago. That's obviously a big company. But the UAW is really one of the biggest unions in America. The auto industry really gave birth to the middle class. Obviously, the middle class did not include black people. It did not include brown people. It did not include indigenous people. So you can't say it included everybody. But when there was some form of economic equality back in the 50s, 60s, some of the 70s, a large part of that was the auto industry. So when the auto industry does well, it really does have ripple effects for the rest of the country, for other industries, for other workers, because UAW and the contracts they meet set the standard for other industries. So because a lot of, once UAW is doing better, other industries have to kind of compete to keep their workers based on what the UAW negotiates. So don't think that this is just about the auto industry. This is about other industries. And this is really just about a retired General Motors worker said this to me last week. We live in a caste system. We really do live in a caste system. And that's not going to change if, you have excitement for 1 or 2 days when a strike happens and then everybody goes back to sleep. People need to stay invested in this, stay interested. Even if I'm asking the same questions every day and getting similar answers, it's about lifting the voice of the workers, because they are not going. CNN will cover this for a few days and then be done. And CNN will have workers on and they'll talk to them for 2 or 3 minutes and then go back to sympathizing with the companies. And CNN will continually, and not just CNN, other corporate media, if you watch enough, you will see they sympathize with the companies and they regurgitate talking points from the companies, not the other way around. We are here to lift the voices of the workers and to share their stories, because honestly, I think a lot of people don't realize even full-time auto workers are living with their parents, are not seeing their wife all week, are, having to scrape, are staying in these jobs just for health insurance, are, 1 or 2 paychecks away from eviction. We've heard all these stories over the last few days. We want to continue sharing these stories. So one more time, sign up, statuscoup.com/join, $5 to $10 a month. $5 a month equals 16 cents a day. $10 a month equals 33 cents a day. This is harder than sitting in a studio blowing opinions out of your ass. But this is, in my opinion, more important. It's very important to be out here on the ground, and we'll stay on the ground as long as possible. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you back here live tomorrow.